Did you guys hear?
Hear what?
About Michi dipshit.
Oh, that? He probably just went back to Japan. It wouldn't be the first time.
I mean, Sman's got a point.
That's new. I've always known Smanny to be an asshole, but his nonchalant attitude towards his friend's sudden disappearance just doesn't sit right with me.
What's new?
Oh, nothing. Brandon had a puzzled look on his face as if in deep concentration.
Sman, and weren't you and Michi hanging out the other day? Did anything seem off to you?
I don't know. He was checking his phone a lot, but for the most part, he seemed perfectly fine to me.
We sat in silence, mulling over our memories with Michi until a large husk of a man on an ATV stopped in front of the old shop, about 10 meters away from our bench. Connor pointed towards the old shop.
Who the fuck is that old dude watching us?
I turned towards the direction he was pointing to. That's the Nightwatchman. I've talked to him a couple times. He was pretty weird. You know, I think we should get going. I've got a bad feeling about this. As I was getting up to leave, Smannon pulled me back down.
You know what, guys? I think we should all look for Michi. He was last seen here after all.
Didn't you just say that he probably just went back to Japan? I mean, like, why the change of heart?
Well, you can never be too sure.
Sman, don't you have to be home by 8:30? The sun's about to set.
Well, then we better get gone. I ain't got all day. I think we should split up. Me and Brandon, Connor, and Craig.
I was fine with the pairings, but Brandon seemed particularly anxious about splitting up.
Me and Brandon would take the soccer field. Connor and Craig will take the front.
I work the day shift at the park, and I don't usually see the night watchman all too often. However, when I do see him, he's always watching people from afar, and he's always in the front, so I wasn't too pleased with Smannon's decision, but I went along with it anyways, as usual. Well, let's go then, Connor.
Okay. Well, this is the only spot left to check.
We checked every corner of the front of the park by now, and we still had no sign of Michi. As we were about to head inside the old shop, the door slowly creaked open. I was frozen, waiting for the worst to happen, until a hand pulled me into some bushes.
Be quiet. It's that old fucker again.
I squinted my eyes, struggling to see much of anything in the dark, and lo and behold, it was none other than the night watchman. He was an old man, probably in his 60s at least, and had long, scraggly, greasy gray hair. He was humming to a lullaby that sounded like Rockabye Baby. With his eye patch and lack of basic hygiene, he was a sight to behold. He was carrying a flashlight and started looking around, and then he pointed the flashlight directly at where we were hiding. Shit, he's gonna find us. The night watchman began walking straight towards us.
Our ghost is cooked.
And just as we were bracing for the wrath of the night watchman, a black man called him over. Dude, that's my boss.
Who fucking cares? Let's get out of here.
We sprinted out of the bushes and made our way back to the parking lot, and my phone got a notification. It's Brandon.
What did he say?
He said that they're done looking and that they'll meet us in the parking lot. Connor and I sat in my truck, and after 30 minutes there was still no sign of Brandon or Smandon.
What's taking them so long? They fucking or something?
I don't know. I was cut off by an emaciated figure knocking on my window. It was Smandon. He was wide-eyed and panting hard.
Sup, guys? And before you even ask, I don't know where Brandon went.
What? Why? Why would he just leave? That makes no sense.
I don't know. You know how Brandon is. Always leave without saying anything.
While this was true, I still found it odd considering he had just texted me half an hour ago that he was going to meet up with us in the parking lot. Yeah, he does do that a lot. And the night ended like that, with more questions than answers. 2 weeks had passed, and there were now 2 missing teenagers in this random small town in Kentucky. I never thought something like this would happen in Gravel Switch, but here we are. The police wrote off Brandon's disappearance as another runaway, but his car was still parked by the soccer field, so I wasn't buying that story at all. I still couldn't wrap my head around how he went missing, or why he would leave his car and why he never met up with us.
Shit's fucked.
Eh, or seen worse.
Smannon, shut the fuck up.
Gee.
So what do you guys think happened? Two of our friends going missing back to back isn't normal.
Maybe they died.
I think it was a Nightwatchman. He's fucking creepy.
Oh yeah, me and Connor saw him fucking with the old shop on the night Brandon went missing. It was at that moment we heard a buggy in the distance.
Speak of the devil.
We were sitting at the tables by the soccer field, and while it wasn't strange for the night watchman to drive down here, we still didn't want to interact with him, given our suspicions. Shit, let's get out of here.
We should probably wait for him to leave, though.
Yeah, Smannon's right. We can just wait in the bathroom until he leaves.
It was 9 and getting pretty dark, but I went along with it anyway. Upon entering the bathroom, we were overwhelmed with the smell of a skunk. What the fuck is that smell?
What smell?
That's definitely weed.
Well, I smoked a bowl earlier, so what?
I cracked open the door to check on the night watchman, and he was standing completely still, staring at Brandon's car with a flashlight. What the fuck is he doing? He then turned towards my direction and shined the flashlight directly at me, and I slammed the door shut. He saw me.
We gotta get out of here, nigga.
Alright, on the count of 3, we run to the car.
1, 2, start.
Wait a second, I need my bowl.
Can't you worry about the lady, you goddamn pothead?
No, I can't. It's my lucky bowl.
Well, he's pulling up right now, so hurry up and grab it.
I'm way too high. I can't remember where I had it.
I looked around the bathroom. It was hard to see with all the smoke in the air. Fine, I'll grab it. You guys run to the car.
No, Craig. We aren't gonna leave you.
We are?
Yes, you are. It's fine. I have keys anyways.
Alright. See you on Discord then.
Smannon ran outside without a second glance, and Connor turned towards me.
Stay safe, Craig.
Then he followed Smannon outside. It was weird. I'd never seen Connor get so serious before, and that left me with a sense of foreboding in the pit of my stomach, but I shrugged it off. I began looking around the bathroom for the bowl, but it was nowhere to be seen, and I was beginning to feel the effects of the hotbox bathroom. If I were Smannon, where would I hide my bowl? I thought to myself. I looked up and noticed a tile was missing from the ceiling. Now why in the hell would he hide his bowl in the fucking ceiling? And why was he hiding his bowl in the first place? I began climbing the stall. It felt like it was about to snap off of its hinges at any moment when I heard someone fiddling with the door. I panicked and I climbed into the hole in the ceiling. I reached for the tile to cover up the hole, and in the process, I knocked over Smannon's ball, sending it plummeting to the bathroom floor, shattering it into pieces. Shit. I began putting the tile back into place. If he caught me, I was definitely going to be fired. Or worse. I could hear him humming along to some tune. I recognized it was Rockabye Baby. It was the same song he had been humming when Connor and I saw him at the old shop. I pulled the towel over slightly to get a glimpse of him. He looked as old and decrepit as usual, if not more so. It looked like he was struggling to breathe with all the smoke in the air, but I was thankful for the concealment it brought me. Hurry up, you old fuck, I thought to myself. I could feel the tile straining to hold me up. It was only a matter of time before I fell right through. As if he was reading my thoughts, he headed for the door, coughing his lungs out. He turned the lights off before slamming it shut and locking it from the outside. I pulled the tile away from the ceiling and felt my way down. It was pitch black and I couldn't see a thing. I tried the door, but it was locked, as I expected. I reached through the smoke and felt for my key, but it wasn't in my pocket anymore. Shit! I yelled, not caring if the night watchman heard me anymore. And that's how I spent the night, alone and high from secondhand smoke. Smannon and Connor wouldn't answer the phone, but my coworker Moy eventually came by in the morning and let me out. I was off of work today, so I decided to just sleep off the stress from the past few weeks. When I came to, I was inside the old shop. It was a dark and dingy old place, and it reminded me of the night watchman. I tried rubbing my eyes, but my arms wouldn't move. I was bound to the wall. Panic started to set in, but then I saw Connor, slumped over on the other side of the shop. Connor, I called out. but my words fell on deaf ears as I realized Connor was dead, with his intestines littering the floor.
Well, well, well. What do we have here?
Spannon's face was splotched with blood and bits of flesh. I closed my eyes and screamed louder than I ever had before, but when I opened my eyes, I was in my bed. My clothes were soaked with sweat, and it was pitch black outside. I checked my phone and the clock read 8:30 p.m. I took a moment to catch my breath and thought back on the nightmare I just had. There's no way Smannon could be responsible for the disappearance of Brandon and Michi, right? I should talk to Connor about this. Maybe he would have a better idea. So I drove, going 20 over the speed limit the whole way there. I knocked on Connor's door, and after waiting several minutes, a man in his late 40s with a huge beard gut answered the door. "Hey, is Connor home? I've been calling his phone, but he isn't answering."
Oh no, he's probably in there playing his games or jerking off or something. You can check if you want.
Okay, thanks. I walked down the familiar hallway that led to Connor's bedroom. I pushed the door open, nervous as to what I might find, but he wasn't in there. The place looked the same as usual. Cake stroker on the floor, pizza boxes on the bed, dirty clothes everywhere, and some old vapes sitting on the desk. Finding nothing, I headed back towards my truck. I was losing it at this point. In the span of a couple weeks, 3 of my friends had gone missing. The gravity of the situation was beginning to set in, and I felt that sense of foreboding once again, but I couldn't ignore it any longer. Where was Michi last seen? Where was Brandon? What about Connor? And then it hit me. They were all with Smannon fucking Ledwards. I pulled a U-turn and sped towards the park. I pulled up to the aquatic center and hopped out of my truck. Standing under the pavilion was Smannon Ledwards, half of his face illuminated by the white street light. He was looking off in the distance towards the baseball field. "I thought you'd be here,"
I knew you'd come.
Smannon said, and as if on cue, the wind tousled his hair. Even in the dead of night, I could see the anger in his eyes. He turned his head towards me, and we locked eyes. I never thought I'd be scared of Smannon of all people, but at that moment, I was. "I know what you did, you sick bastard," Smannon grimaced.
Where's my bull, Craig? Where's my lucky ball?
He took a step towards me and brought a sudden burst of rain with him. "It's gone, Smannon. I'm sorry, but you're not going to get it back." Smannon scowled and took another step towards me. A gust of wind pushed the hair over his eyes and blew the hood off my head. "Just tell me what happened to the others." I could feel my fear turning into anger. Smannon laughed maniacally.
Where's my bull, Craig? Last chance.
"I told you already, it's gone."
Wrong answer.
Smannon suddenly went as still as a statue. "Smannon, look," I tried to say, but he lunged at me. I was knocked to the ground, and I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. I looked down and saw a kitchen knife sticking out of my abdomen. He looked down at me with a giant grin on his face.
This is for my bowl.
I thought back to that night in the bathroom. I thought about Connor. I thought about all the friends I'd lost. And the only thing that mattered to me anymore was punching that smile off of his face. "Fuck you, you psychopathic stoner." I threw a punch and hit him square in the nose. He let out a scream and fell back into the mud. For a while, we sat there, the pouring rain washing away the blood. "Why did you do it, Smannon?" The knife was making each breath painful.
Do what?
Smannon was now holding his nose, trying to stop the bleeding. "Why did you kill them? Michi, Brandon, and Connor. Why?"
Craig, what are you talking about?
"Don't play stupid with me, Smannon. You took my keys, locked me in the park, and killed Connor. Just admit it." I tried to yell, but my words came out as a mumble.
Craig, it was dark out. As soon as I opened the bathroom door, I was running straight for my car. I waited for him, but he never showed up.
"Then what about my key? You had to have taken it."
What key?
It was a simple enough question, but it sent chills down my spine. I was so scared I felt like throwing up, because I realized that it wasn't Smannon who killed my friends. That's when I saw the headlights. "Smannon, we have to go."
What? Why?
He He was standing up now, his body eclipsing the buggy's headlights. Smannon, just listen to me for once. We have got to go.
I'm not leaving without my belt.
Smannon was interrupted by a machete that sliced through the entirety of his neck, leaving his head to roll around on the ground. I was hyperventilating at this point. The night watchman bent over and picked Smannon's head off of the ground. He was humming along to that damn song again. I was next. I started pulling at the knife in my stomach, but it felt like it was embedded in stone. God damn it, come on! I was yelling, partially because of the pain, but mostly out of fear. The night watchman started walking towards me, Smannon's head swaying in his grasp. He had a look in his eye that almost looked lustful, with drool pulling out of his mouth. The knife wouldn't budge, so I took the second best option and got to my feet and started running. I don't know why I went where I went, but there I was, in the old shop. It was so dark in there I couldn't see my hands anymore. I felt around for the light switch. In hindsight, part of me wishes that I didn't. What the fuck? The light flickered on. It wasn't very bright, and it left the room dimly lit, with the corners of the shop still shrouded in shadows. On the left wall was Brandon, or what remained of him anyway. His hands were chained up on the wall, and his legs were detached from his torso. They sat in a bloody pile below his entrails. Michi had no body. Nothing was left, aside from his dismembered head. His mouth hung open, and some fluid was in and around it. On the right wall was Connor. He wasn't in as bad a shape as the others, but that isn't to say he didn't look like he had been through some shit. He was missing his left leg and arm, and I could only assume that he had one of his eyes gouged out. There were cameras on tripods scattered around the entire shop. Jesus Christ, what did he do to you guys? I felt a knot forming in my throat as I approached Connor. By some grace of God, he was still breathing. Connor, I'm gonna get you out of here, buddy. At that moment, I heard someone trying to break into the shop. I reached for my phone and dialed 911. It rang a few times before someone answered the phone. Hello? There's a guy trying to kill me. I'm at Grand Memorial Park. Hurry up! I yelled into the phone. The night watchman would be here any minute now. I dropped my phone and started pulling at the knife with all the strength I could muster, but it wasn't enough. That's when Connor's single arm raised towards the knife. His head was still down, and his breathing was labored, but he began pulling at the knife with me. It felt like my stomach was being ripped out, but I still kept pulling. It finally came out, along with loads of blood. Connor went limp, and the knife fell to the ground, and I fell with it. I took a moment to catch my breath and got to my feet, knife in hand. I was way too weak to take on the night watchman in my current state, so I had to take him by surprise. I turned the lights off and walked up the stairs into the attic. I heard the door creak open, and it was accompanied by the night watchman humming Rockabye Baby. The floorboards were creaking, and then the lights flickered to life. I peeked over the railing. He put Smannon's head down beside Connor and made his way towards the stairs. This was my only chance. I dived down the stairs, the knife extended out in front of me. Stop singing baby songs! I screamed, and I collided with the night watchman. I rolled onto my back and saw the night watchman beside me, with a knife protruding from his chest and tons of blood gushing from his stomach. I let out a sigh of relief, and I had a small smirk on my face, with the realization that I had finally stopped the night watchman's murderous rampage. But as my vision faded to black, I heard the humming of that damn song, Rockabye Baby.